I belong to a very small tribal village.
How did this passion start? What keeps you going? And somewhere where you felt that this has to be my purpose, we really want to know it. Pratik had got a wonderful chance of being in an excellent firm working for T2
Terminal and everything. All
terminal airport.
You cannot just build sustainable home. Your lifestyle has to be sustainable. That is the beauty of the indigenous architecture, which we as a professional architect can never understand. Just because I have a hammer in my hand, all nails are not the problem. You have to keep that hammer aside and look at the whole picture.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hello everyone, on Copperpod today we are going to meet a very interesting person, a young architect who has won national awards, who has worked amazingly for uplifting the villages of rural India. He has roamed states and he has tried to bring in a humongous change in the entire thought process of architectural practice. We are going to meet Architect Pratik Dhanmer. He is the partner in the firm Destined Jatra. So Destined Jatra is a firm which has three young architects: Architect Shardul Patil, Architect Vinita Kaur Chiragia, and Architect Pratik Dhanmer. These are the trio who tried to bring in a change, and in what way. You must understand that you just need a passion and you can bring a butterfly effect in this whole environment of architecture and in the upliftment of villages. Let us meet Architect Pratik Dhanmer to understand his journey in the episode today. Hello everyone. So we are here with Pratik Dhanmer. As I said, he is the partner of Destined Jatra firm. And we have to immediately start because Pratik will have so much more to speak of. And there is humongous work that this dynamic youngster has done, and I was so glad when I could get him on Copperpod for all of you. Welcome, Pratik.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. We have been working together since quite many years, almost 7 to 8 years now, and I have seen your passion grow day in and day out. I have seen your community increasing, and I have seen you taking some amazing initiatives. How did this passion start? What keeps you going? And somewhere where you felt that this has to be my purpose, we really want to know it.
Yeah, so I cannot take the entire credit for myself because I have two really amazing partners. One is Shardul Patil and Vinita Kaur Chiragia. And three of us has, somehow this passion for working with the community. And rather, I would give this particular credit to Shardul Patil because he was the one first to introduce for the community-oriented architecture.
Right.
And again, we are mentored by Architect Malak Singhil sir. So in a very initial stage of our practice, we got this exposure. And while finding the roots and what kind of a practice we wanted to do, we end up I actually end up going back to my village. Okay, I belong to a very small tribal village. Though I am not a tribal, but my great-grandfather migrated over there and they got a piece of land and they started farming over there. And that's how my family actually belonged to that particular place. But I always had this connection with the community, but it was never realized kind of a connection. And one fine day when Shardul was there, decided, okay, I wanted to build a house in the village. And then we had this discussion about the certain technologies. And that time actually it was a kind of a realization I had, okay, I know so much of indigenous construction technologies that I need to actually see it seriously, which may be forgotten when I was studying architecture for 5 years and I was just focusing on maybe steel and RCC. And that way we started traveling a lot in that area. We started meeting people, and somehow this is a very empathetic kind of architecture which we got exposure to, and then we just connected to it, and
it is not, now it is like something,
yeah,
driving force behind your
exactly.
Pratik, when did you feel, or you can share your experience as a student, because you said just after your graduation you realized this. So till you were graduating, you had come from a smaller village, so the challenges must have been different while doing this course, and you have done from
Academy of Architecture.
so some, that elite institute where you have the first elite crowd that comes.
Yes.
How what was your experience?
So my experience with the college is really good. Means I won't say like, first of all, because of NASA, we got exposure to a lot of things, and I was also associated with a trophy called LIK, which is a documentation trophy. And that's why I was like always interested in documentation. So I think from first year I had this exposure with the traditional architecture or the the heritage architecture in that time, and my interest started growing in that. But somehow I never had an idea in my head that I wanted to pursue this particular field. So usually my focus was always on the kind of a modern architecture, which is high rises, the glass facade buildings and everything.
And somewhere I can see that young student come from a vernacular place.
Yeah, exactly.
So the dreams are of something high end.
Exactly, and that is what you see on the television.
That is what has been glamorized.
Glamorized.
So I must tell my audience here that Pratik had got a wonderful chance of being in an excellent firm, working for T2
Yeah, terminal and everything. All this.
terminal airport, and he had a job which everybody would be really envious about. Ki wow, a young fresher, and he has already got this opening. But his switch in realizing his passion is extremely interesting, and this is where he's trying to now lead us to, because when he said that he came into architecture, he was doing the course and he was dreaming big, the moments which took him back to the roots are very, very interesting, and I'm sure you would love it. Yeah.
So actually, the good part is I got really good mentor, and one of them is architect Ravindra Punde sir, and he was also principal.
Yeah.
And I think he was the first one who offered me the job in his firm. And yeah, amazing, excellent projects. Their practice is also very good. But somehow, when I started working over there, I started realizing certain things that, I am a very, very hands-on person. And the good part about Punde sir is that he's always open to dialogue. And I had a very amazing, conversation with him, and I started telling him what exactly I love about architecture, and somehow I'm not able to, find certain things. So he tried giving me that kind of a work, but yet there was still, there was something was missing. And then one fine day I decided to, meet Malak Singh sir, and Malak Singh sir was like, hey, Pratik, think about your village, like go back to your village. You don't know what you have. And Malak sir always, whenever I used to meet him, he used to tell me this one dialogue, hey, Pratik, you don't know what you have. Go back to your village.
Wonderful.
And one fine day, Ravi sir called me and he's like, Pratik, there is a very good seminar which is going on, 361 degrees. And would you like to go for it? And it was quite expensive. I thought for the professionals, it was 8,000 or something. And I'm like, sir, I'm just getting, salary, which is like half the salary is gone in the ticket. So I can't afford it.
Yeah.
And sir is like, don't worry about it. We'll sponsor it from our office. It was and he sponsored me, and my luck was that time panel was completely those who are architects who are working with the communities. And it was a big realization. I could connect with the Malak Singh sir's words. I could even connect with the kind of discussion I had with Ravi sir. And I like, okay, this is what I'm looking for.
And your current job.
Yeah.
So somewhere where that lack was, you knew how an opportunity to fill it up.
Exactly. And the next day I went there and I told Ravi sir, sir, I think this is time where I can resign, because I think I found what I really wanted to do. And that time also, like, I had a really good conversation where Ravi sir also guided me. Like, he's a really good mentor. Many times whenever I have a dead wall in front of me, I just call him up and, okay, sir, I need some help with it. And that's how I just shifted in the village. Then there is quite some time I spent with my family to convince them.
Of course, this is one, because your expectations from your family are such humongous that to tell them I'm coming back here, they would feel like, why did you go in for,
Exactly.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
So I took quite some, and somehow I'm not a rebel kid. So I was never into the fight with my parents, but so it was a discussion, and I used to tell him logically, trying to explain what exactly I want from my life, and I'll make sure that this decision won't be, I won't regret it. And somehow a parent agreed, and they are still supporting me, and I think without their support I couldn't have.
Of course.
And somehow we shifted, and then everything like
Wonderful. So now let us know first, let the audience know, what do you do in this community? Yeah.
Design Jatra. I won't call it as a firm, but we are a collaborative, and we collaborate with a lot of artisans, masons, as well as the architects, and with the communities. So we build with the natural and locally available materials, with the local skills, with the local masons and artisans.
Right.
So everything is localized, and our design process is also very participatory. So it is not something which is, I am the architect and I'll take the decision for the entire, but we involve all the stakeholders in the design process. We try to listen, we try to come with the golden center where this is like good for everybody. And for that reason, we cannot even claim the entire design by ourselves, I think. And because of that, one thing which happens that whenever we build something, it merges with the context, because everybody's worked on it, and you cannot just sometimes see it, okay, this structure is different from this. But when you actually enter, then that the craftsmanship come into the picture, of architect's vision comes into the picture. So we have a very different approach towards design. Also, we feel that you cannot just build sustainable home. Your lifestyle has to be sustainable. And it is not only about in Anna Vastra Nivara, it is not only about the Nivara, but your Vastra and Anna is also important. So we started growing our food. We got into the farming.
This is very important, guys, over here, because what Design Jatra does as a team is they have brought up the entire village. It is not something which you look at only the housing typology and the methodology of how they construct houses, which is amazing, no doubt. But by the time that house gets constructed, there is so much of an education that goes into the entire village. There is so much of a change that you try to bring in agriculture and ecosystem, in their life, in the way they can develop it further, and in the policy making of that village.
Exactly.
And yeah, please tell us about that.
And the thing is, we started realizing when you actually connect with the community, there is a lot of power in it. And that development is also become so inclusive, so holistic, so you can see the democracy in that entire system. And we started actually connecting to it very well. And also, like, community started seeing the power in it. Okay, so even so we are more like a catalyst in the system, and we started understanding a lot of policies, their systems, and we just started thinking that the architects also can play a role in this particular situation.
So important, yeah.
And we started working on it. So we started working on farming. Then somehow we got connected with a policy of Indira Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and we started educating people. And I always feel that whenever you have a genuine intention to work on something, somehow the greater good connects to it. So for example, when we started seeing this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana in our village, that how it is drastically changing the very local houses into a cement matchboxes kind of a structure, we started having a discussion with the villagers. We also started having discussion with the Gram Sabha and Gram Panchayat. And somehow the 5 people from our village agreed that they will try to experiment with their houses And we actually made a few houses with the brick and mud and, reusing the local material and all. And somehow government came to know about it, and one of our faculty, architect Urmila Rajyadeksha ma'am, just called one day and they were like, okay, we are also doing similar experiment. So why don't you just join the panel on this side and try to see on a bigger, like a state level.
Yeah, wonderful.
And it was a great opportunity which we got because we roamed around Maharashtra. I think we covered more than 70 villages. We documented villages, and it was such a holistic process where we started understanding the policy, the role of the stakeholders, everything. And that experience we could actually use whenever we are started working. And that's how we started getting a few government projects as well, on the community level. That's how we also got connected to many NGOs, and they started giving us the architectural projects which are like community driven. And it was like just now happening, and everybody knows that Design Jatra is now.
You're doing amazing, Pratik. I mean, I feel that, as you rightly said, the greater good just comes in, and the passion of all three of you over here is so wonderful. It is so important to have a community which thinks like you, which wants to do something, even if it is that little bit, but that help becomes so important.
Exactly. And the good part about this particular thing, that we realize that we are working on the housing, we are working on the food. We also started making a lot of local bamboo products with the community. And we also bring a lot of livelihood. And we are also working hard to stop the forced migration where, the youngsters are going out
of the village.
Can we create an opportunity within the village where, the youngsters will stay in the village? And then they can actually think about the greater good of the
the entire village. Yeah.
So we started working on that, and the result is after that, sometimes because the youngsters started living within a village, they started looking at sustainability on all level, and that's how we actually got into the policy. And through policy, we actually started thinking about how we can strengthen our Gram Sabha, where the people will make decision how to utilize money for their own development.
Wonderful.
And through that, we came to know about many things about how government actually show the data and everything. And through the website, we came to know that so much of work is happening in our village, but it is not actually happening only on paper, but not on the ground. So the youngsters started realizing their power, and they came to know there are certain corruption is also happening. And so we had this Design Jatra took one initiative where we started explaining them their rights in a simple format, because the legal languages were quite
very difficult for even the
normal person. So we used to decode it, and we used to one law we used to explain them every day, and that's how they started realizing, these rights are these rights we have. And from our village, there are 40 RTIs filed on the Gram Panchayat. And we came to know that there is almost 50 to 60 lakh rupees corruption which happened.
Oh my God.
And there only the people didn't stop. They actually went ahead. They complained to the Panchayat Samiti, to Jilla Parishad. Even after that, they actually went to the court for that matter. And somehow the entire villages in the surrounding came to know about this entire movement, and they started coming to our village to seek information and guidance.
Fantastic.
It was a kind of a movement, and the good part about it right now, even though the result is yet to become, but people are actually, whenever they are going for any government work, the government officials are, okay, Murbad ke log hai, inka kaam pehle kar do, because they know a lot. And I think that is the something which is, sustainability in the power, in the governance is also we are trying to bring over here.
Wonderful. I mean, what right now you mentioned about the power given to the villagers and uplifting them in that sense of intellect. I think you said perfect. This is a module. This is a format that you are showing everybody, showing the youngsters, showing the architects of today, that how you are needed beyond your just small ventures.
Yes.
I remember you telling me that when we had visited your place in the village, that how you are looking at even the flora fauna or the animals, if there is a path of one particular animal. I would really like you to
Yeah, so usually what happens, whenever we are constructing any house, the architect only thinks about that four walls where the space is contained, but we never think about what butterfly effect it is causing on the ecosystem around it. So, for example, we in our college, whenever we are making any timber sheets, we always write TW. We don't know any other species.
yeah.
And what happens, because we all architects are bound to that one species, somewhere the forest is getting cut down and the monoculture of that teak wood is happening. Okay, so you are losing on a biodiversity. So when we started working with the tribal masons, and we were doing our first project, which is Shardul's house, the Mistri, Ananta Mistri came to us and they were like, why you are wasting your money on teak wood only? There are so many species are there. And he started explaining the species specifically to one function. So for example, there is a vertical column is post is there, then we go for khair ka species. If it's a short span, we go for ain ka species. If there is a long span, then bibra. And that's how he told us more than 35 species which we can utilize. After that, we realize when we consume biodiversity, we plant biodiversity or we take care of that biodiversity.
Yeah, because that is needed.
Exactly. And when because you are not dependent on one species, you are not going for a monoculture of that particular species. And I think it is a very important lesson.
A balance.
Exactly. Also, like the life cycle of the house, for example, for the tribal people, so they have this central post, which is they call Devasa Kham, and which is directly put into the ground. Now what happens, this Devasa Kham, because it is in the ground, it gets a termite attack or a decaying process. And that decaying process easily go for 20-25 years. And that Devasa Kham actually goes a little bit down in the ground. It sinks. And the moment it started sinking, the tribal person dismantled the entire house. He take that Devasa Kham, he throw it into the forest. And he just let that termite eat the entire thing. Then he take another tree from the forest, he take it home. He again do all the rituals. He put that as a Devasa Kham, and he again assemble the house. And usually this particular process happens just before the marriage.
Okay.
And when he actually taking the tree out from the forest, he plant another tree over there. So now the entire house is built. The Devasa Kham is placed. His marriage happens. Then he has a son. The son started growing. The post started decaying. The tree which he planted started growing again. So when the son reached to the 21, 25 years old, the process repeats. And I think that is the beauty of the indigenous architecture, which we as a professional architect can never understand. And this is the sensitivity of that architecture as well. So we need to understand these systems. And I think these kind of a small things, they made a lot of impact on our practice. That how we should look at the practice sensitively.
And somewhere we feel that, we have to relearn again everything. Because, this is teaching you something which is not in the books.
Exactly.
Which is not what we are seeing and following, and even the materials. So it is not just vernacular means wood and bamboo and it ends there.
Exactly.
It has so many aspects which you realize only when you went back to the village and you interacted with the community. And you took their intelligence, which was the core of wonderful.
And I think that's the reason we, we become like this, that we cannot just focus on architecture alone. Because even if I go into the village and ask about the architectural need, their architectural need must be like 7-8 point. Okay, but it starts from 1, 2, 3, 4, and if till I don't address 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I cannot reach to 8, 9, 10. And so I need to put down my that architect's aura aside.
Right.
I need to think like a villager, and I need to first understand from the villagers what they really needed. And another thing is, like, many times we as an architect, we go into such areas and we look down upon, like, I am the architect, I'll help you. You cannot help them. They are self-sufficient. Okay, rather you are taking the help from them to understand your practice or your idea of life or something like that. And I think we also took some time to realize that. So because initially when we went to the villages, we were like, oh, we are the architects now, we will solve your problem. But we realized that just because I have a hammer in my hand, all nails are not the problem. You have to be like keep that hammer aside and look at the whole picture.
Wonderful, wonderful. I would also like you to share this rice cultivation wala.
So the thing is, when we started talking to the villagers, we were like, okay, why you guys are not building mud houses? So the first question, obviously, ki, Pratik, you lived your life in city. You consume more resources than us. How can you say, to us to live in this particular house? So one thing I did is I built my own house in mud over there. Then I asked them, okay, now what's your problem? So they were like, it's a very high maintenance on the mud homes. So we started working on the technology where how we can reduce the maintenance from the house. Then we asked, okay, now what's the problem? And they were like, no, actually, right now there are no resources left in the forest which we can consume and we can build other houses. So we're like, okay, let's plant the trees then. And they were like, but if I plant tree today, I don't even know who will take care of it. And it will giving me result after 20, 30 years. I don't know what to eat tomorrow or today. So I need to first address that. And that was the realization. And then we started thinking, okay, how we can actually address.
Wonderful.
So we came to know that the entire youth is in the village when it's a farming time. So we tab on the farming because we are now interacting with the entire community. And we started identifying problem in the farming, and they are very much dependent on the hybrid seeds and the chemical fertilizer. So a lot of money is going out of the village to some companies, okay,
To buy those seeds.
and they are not getting the kind of money, profit through the farming. So then we started having a dialogue with why we are not getting back our native seeds. And they were like, no, now it is no more left. We don't even left with the seeds, and we don't know where to source it from. And through that process, we came in contact with Sanjay Patil sir from BIAP organization. He actually single-handedly preserved, I think, more than 300, 400 rice species with the community. And he has done a fabulous work with that. And he actually gave us like 56 rice species to experiment with, like 100 grams of samples. And we actually established Bachat Gat,
Acha.
but Purush Bachat Gat, not Mahila Bachat Gat.
Okay.
And we started working with the Bachat Gat, and we cultivated those rice species, and it gave us a really good result. And through that, we decided, okay, these 5 rice species are growing really well in our region, so we'll take it ahead. And that's how like we got back our native rice. And native rice doesn't require any chemical fertilizer. Even simple gomutra does the job. Even the cow dung does the job. So, and another good part happened that for the native rice, whenever they are selling off those rice, like which is like done with the hybrid rice, the rate was like hardly 9 rupees or 10 rupees. But the moment we started cultivating the native rice, the people started paying us 80, 90 rupees. It's almost 10 times more the price. And so suddenly they realized the power. And villagers like, okay, we are ready to do this particular farming. And that's how we still we are doing this
Yes.
with the community. And yeah, like right this year also more than like 10 youngsters who actually did the.
Oh, okay.
It's already so it's really
Wonderful. I must tell the audience here that Design Jatra organizes these small festivals in the village. So everyone must go and visit to know more. What he has been talking is just the tip of the iceberg, where he just explained few experiences of his to build up the entire village. What they have done, the work in the village is amazing. They have been accoladed with the national award at a very young age, as soon as they started with this thought process. But as you see him, as humble as he is and as passionate as he is, you will realize the importance once you visit the place. I think right now you have one
festival which is coming out. Yeah, it's a forest food festival we have organized. It is also to, it's more than city people. It is for the villagers, young generation, to expose them to their own food. Because right now they are losing touch with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. One advice that you want to give our audience?
I think I'm yet.
No, please keep your humbleness aside and whatever you feel, or you can just say the students or the aspiring architects.
Yes, but one thing I will definitely tell them that they should travel. Like India is so vibrant, so good. There is so much to explore. So people must visit. The kids must visit whenever they get opportunity. Just travel alone, travel with anybody, friends, family, but travel and try to explore these, vibrant cultures. And you never know what you will find, which is, connecting with you. And only thing is like whatever good for your empathy, your sensitivity, cherish it, and just be open. And yeah,
I mean, as you have built your relations with people, with your professors, with all those,
Yes.
I have seen that your collaborative is like a group of people whom you also have gone ahead and spoken to and, approached. And I suppose this approach, you shouldn't be held back. Somewhere when you feel that, oh, I need, just go and speak, just go and talk. Don't hold yourself back. Already assuming that maybe I don't know whether this will work or no, but definitely give it a try, which I have seen you doing it every time, Pratik, and your entire team. And what you have achieved is amazing. So we are so proud of you always, and we wish that you um, get such collaborators and these youngsters who can be a great help uh, to building up India as a nation and looking at what our culture, tradition, heritage holds for us, because that is something which are our roots. And you have individually or as a group of three in Design Jatra explored that for the first time. And I'm glad you're sharing it with everybody in whichever possible way. So I must say you should all visit Design Jatra website and see what they are doing, and definitely go and be a part of their collaborative wherever and whenever it is possible. So thank you, Pratik, for being here. We are extremely grateful that you could come and share your experience, and I'm sure students will be amazingly inspired by this.
Thank you, ma'am.
So much.